So I'm sure you have some crazy stories about teachers at your school, whether it was a super hard-ass teacher that would, give you detention for being like a minute late or yell at you for being a minute late, or like a 45-year-old balding PE teacher flirting with the girl students like as soon as they turned 18. Well, you know what? Every school had one of these crazy teachers, at least one of them, but today's story might just take the cake for one of the craziest situations I've ever heard about. So there's this one teacher that lives in Arizona, and you know what? It's a teacher couple. The wife has an OnlyFans. You know what? Which is already a bit of a red flag for me. Like, whatever you think of OnlyFans, most of you gotta admit it's a little weird having a teacher that is constantly around little kids all day doing that kind of not safe for work kind of crap. Only 18% of the people watching this video right now are actually subscribed to the channel. Don't be part of the 81%. Subscribe to the channel. You have nothing to lose. But if you think that's bad, the husband is also a teacher, and so they've both been doing OnlyFans videos together. And you know what? They look like they've been trying to hide it. They actually did one thing where apparently on OnlyFans, if you didn't know, you can actually block certain areas, certain countries or certain states from seeing your OnlyFans content. And so if you have family in one place, you can hide it for them. But of course, the problem with that is, VPNs have existed and they're super cheap. They've existed for a long time. I mean, you can get a VPN that'll pretty much do anything for like a couple bucks a month. And so that hiding thing doesn't work out that well. So they tried to hide it. However, when you do crap like this, it's going to eventually get uncovered, especially when you're in a position like a teacher. You can't hide something like this forever. It's gonna eventually be discovered. I mean, there's literally like 1,000 kids per school, sometimes more, sometimes less, but there's so many kids looking around. I mean, one of them is eventually going to say something or see something, and that's actually exactly what happened with this couple. And so it looks like over on Instagram, a bunch of these kids were sharing links to this to this teacher's OnlyFans. And if you thought that was bad enough, you know what? They actually made an OnlyFans video in the school in a classroom. I'm completely serious. You know what? Maybe if they hid their faces, it would have been a bit of a different story, if they didn't show their faces, but they actually shared the location in one of these OnlyFans videos, and they made it in one of the classrooms of this teacher, and they were doing the deed on students' desks. That is so creepy. And I mean, this is just one of the weirdest stories we'd had to cover. I mean, you know what, I definitely think that this might have been like an attention play, how to promote her OnlyFans, and maybe something like this would have worked out if it wasn't such a creepy thing to do. I mean, imagine your teacher, filming OnlyFans content on your desk, and imagine how that sounds. It would gross me out personally. Like, imagine, it starts, getting shared in your school circle, and they're like, yo, bro, that was on your desk. I mean, that would bug me, but you know what? It actually backfired on her, thank goodness. And even, she got fired from her teaching job. It sounds like her husband actually got fired from his teaching position too, which is crazy. But you know what? If you think that wasn't that big of a deal, you know what? This entire situation has gone super viral. So, she started getting some relevancy over on her social media account. So maybe her OnlyFans will start popping off. You know what though? Even OnlyFans actually banned her because they said it was too inappropriate for her, which is just, I mean, when you start doing things that are too inappropriate for OnlyFans, maybe it's time to look in the mirror and be like, hey, maybe I'm doing something wrong, because my god, you can literally find pretty much anything on OnlyFans. So yeah, if OnlyFans is saying what you're doing is too extreme, I mean, I would reconsider what you're doing. But you know what, she even made a quote-unquote apology video, which honestly isn't even a real apology video. I mean, she actually kind of just made a bunch of excuses.
Or some of you might know me by my alias, Chloe Carter. I was an employee at Thunderbolt for 5 years. And within this time, although my experience and evaluation showed that I had become a master science specialist and teacher, my salary did not increase, to the point where our family was not able to survive on our two teacher incomes. My children are the most important thing to me, and I'm already spending countless hours outside of my
She said, oh, well, the reason I was making OnlyFans content is because I wasn't being paid enough, and you know what, I needed some extra money on the side. And you know what, at first glance, that sounds kind of bad, until you realize that the average salary of a teacher in Arizona is apparently $60,000 a year. Okay, maybe $60,000 split between two people doesn't sound like a lot, but that's the thing, it wasn't split. Actually, the husband and the wife were both teachers, so they're netting $120,000 every single year. If you're seriously trying to tell me that the majority of couples can't live off $120,000 a year, I simply don't believe you. And they got exactly what they deserved. You know, they were doing this creepy kind of content, and they got both fired from their jobs, and now they can't access OnlyFans. And of course, there's other sites that, you know, might let her on, but none as popular as OnlyFans. And I think that's one of the big deals of it. And in the video, she really just makes excuses. And I mean, I don't understand why she would have even came up with this video. It honestly makes her look super terrible. And that's the thing. It's like, you know what? Maybe I'd sympathize, because apparently she has, you know, kids, which is crazy. You know, in 10 years, they're going to be insulting each other, saying, well, you know what? At least my mama didn't have an OnlyFans. But you know what? I think I'd sympathize a little more, even though, you know what, the OnlyFans as a teacher, you know what? There's some professions you can't do OnlyFans and your other job, and teacher is 100% one of those professions where it's either one or the other, you know what I mean? And she decided to try to have it both, and she, you know, took it too far and decided to make OnlyFans content in a classroom. And it sounds like the video was made maybe like an hour after class closed. And I don't know about you guys, but yeah, the majority of kids at my school were gone an hour after class. But you know what, there are probably like maybe 100, maybe 200 kids that would stay after, you know, whether it's to study or to do an after schools program. So there were still kids in the school that could walk past or maybe open the door or something crazy. And you know what, you know, if it was to give you a perspective, it wasn't like a high school, okay? It was like a middle school. I don't know, it's a little different in the States compared to where I live. So it sounds like it was mostly like 11 to 13 year olds. So can you imagine 11-year-old walking in on that crap? I mean, it's super gross. And you know what, like, again, I said I might sympathize, because I understand, you know what, everything's so expensive nowadays, but there was more than one way to make that kind of money on the side, you know what I mean? There's like side hustles you can do. You can, I don't know, invest or something. But you know what, she actually decided to make OnlyFans content in a classroom. And you know what, she's trying to make me feel bad for her. I'm sorry, I don't feel bad at all, but that's just my thoughts. You can let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Yesterday we made a video talking about how Aiden Ross got swatted, and you know what, he actually confronted his swatter live on stream. This is a crazy video you're not going to want to miss. Click here to watch it now.